Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Monotui, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and today I'm bringing you guys our GBA Season 8 Week 2 match versus John, aka PokeMen, coach of the New Orleans Pelippers. If you have not done so already, please check out his YouTube link in the description below. Unfortunately, John was a little pressed for time in order to get this game done, like he was unable to find a Jenner in time and a whole bunch of other real-life things, so this game ended up being played on Showdown. Something else you're going to notice is that his Diancie is not in regular form, it's currently Mega Evolved. That's also not that big of a deal, it didn't come into play during the game. And, you know, I didn't bother asking for a restart because it shouldn't really be that big of a deal. If anything, having my Mega Diancie already Mega Evolved kind of hurts him because he doesn't get the additional bulk. Obviously, there's the chance he can switch it in, Magic Bounce something, but again, that didn't happen throughout the game, so it did not affect the game whatsoever. But yeah, looking at his team, there's several things that he did not bring that I was fearing. Like, he does not have the, he didn't bring a lot of his higher tier Pokemon. Like, as you can see, he has Mega Diancie, and then I think, like, it drops down to Cresselia and Ryu, or something along those lines, so, a relatively low tier team that he's brought. However, it does not mean that we are going to have an easy time with it. It is still a very scary team. Mega Diancie is a huge threat to my team, even though we do have the Registeel. Hariyama is a big threat. Jolteon can be very annoying. Cresselia, if it's Calm Mind, can be a very big issue. So there's that. But for a quick rundown of our team, obviously we have our 3 attacks, Wall Breaker, Roost, Charizard X. We have our Curse Slacks. We have our Life Orb 4 attacks, Weavile. We have our Calm Mind Waterium Z Slowking. We have our Special Defensive Registeel, and we have our Physically Defensive Colberberry Palossand. So without further ado, let us just get into this game. As you can see, I decided to lead with Slowking as he decides to lead with his Piloswine. I call the lead matchup perfectly, and I just fire off a Scald. As you can see, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but we do snag a burn, which is actually kind of bad if he is Calm Mind, because we won't be able to Toxic this thing later, but he is not leftovers, so he will be taking 6% per turn, which is very nice. And then we are able to go into Registeel as he goes for the Toxic, and now I can get up my rocks in as the Hariyama comes on in. He's actually going to reveal Sub here, which I was not expecting. However, because Palossand is a monster with the Colberberry, we are going to take absolutely nothing from that Guts boosted knockoff, and now he cannot 2-KO me, so we are going to go right for that Shore Up in order to get ourselves back to a good amount of HP so we can switch in on that thing later. Now he does send out his Piloswine, and I see this as an opportunity to start setting up. If his Hariyama comes in, it'll take rocks, it'll take burn damage, and I do have a safe switch into it in Palossand, so I start going for those curses as he sends in the Cresselia. He Ice Beams here, it does absolutely nothing. Literally nothing. After leftovers, we're back at full HP. And now we will be able to get ourselves up to +3 defense, +3 attack, which means we will be able to take an Adamant Guts boosted close combat from this thing. As you can see, it does do quite a bit of damage, but even after that, even after that damage, he has nothing unseen that'll be able to OHKO me. Diancie cannot OHKO me unless he crits me, but as you can see, he makes a very good play going for Calm Mind, predicting my rest. But it's still not the worst thing in the world. If we do go for Body Slam, it'll do a lot of damage to this thing. As you can see, we do go for the Sleep Talk. We get Curse, which is not the worst thing, but it unfortunately is not what we needed in a Body Slam. He's going to be able to 2-KO us with Moonblast. We go for another Sleep Talk and unfortunately get Rest. So at this point, we are in range of the next Moonblast, so we go right out into our Special Defensive Registeel. It was actually a little bit of a misplay, because if he had gotten a higher roll with this Earth Power, or if he had crit me, I believe that was close to a max roll, but we could have lost our Registeel, which meant that we were actually going to get slept by this thing, because Weavile's Icicle Crash would not be able to knock it out, and I'd be reliant on a flinch. Also, as you can see here, I miscalced the damage it would do to Slowking. I was fully physically defensive Slowking, I didn't have any special defense investment, and I would have been able to live that hit close to guaranteed if I did not have the, if I didn't have, what's it called, if I didn't have the, if he didn't have Rocks Up. But he did have Rocks Up, so the roll was heavily in his favor. He was able to knock me out with Moonblast. Not the biggest deal in the world, because I didn't really need Slowking. Like, the only thing it checked on his team was Piloswine. Like, it doesn't beat the Cresselia if it's Calm Mind, especially because it has Toxic. It doesn't beat the Houndoom, it doesn't beat the Jolteon. So not the biggest deal losing the Slowking, but now we can go out into Weavile. Thankfully, we do hit our Icicle Crash, and we get rid of the biggest offensive threat to my team. He's not going to send a Houndoom, and if he's not Scarfed, I should be able to knock him out with Low Kick. Except he's a very, very weird, bulky Houndoom with Curse and leftovers, and I'm not exactly sure what that was. That should have killed most of the time. He had to be max HP with some physical defense investment. Regardless, we're able to 2-hit KO that thing, and we're able to get off a lot of chip damage off onto the Jolteon. As you can see, he's leftovers, not specs, so this Thunderbolt has no chance to knock out my Snorlax, even with a crit. He's just going to Volt Switch on out. And because we did use our 2 turns of sleep, we can just go for the rest here, get ourselves back to full HP, and now Snorlax will be able to win this game, assuming he does not crit me with the Pilot Line. He's going to go for the first Earthquake, does a decent chunk of damage with leftovers. It is not a 3-hit KO. He goes for another one, again looking for the Curse here, as we do thankfully get it, and now unless he crits me on this turn, we will be able to win this game. As you can see, he does go for the Earthquake, no crit, and we will be able to rest up. Even if he did crit me, Palisand was more than likely going to be able to beat the rest of his team anyway, just because obviously it dealt with the Jolteon, dealt with this thing, and it could have Shadow Balled the Cresselia, potentially. Depends obviously if he lands Toxic and if he's able to wield me down fast enough, but regardless, as you can see, Curslax is actually going to get the Para onto this thing. I'm going to rest up just to be extra safe, not wanting to risk him getting like a double crit or something along those lines. So we do go for the rest there, we go for Sleep Talk, we do get the Body Slam, and we are fortunate enough to roll another Body Slam off of the Sleep Talk, so we will be able to get rid of the Pilot's Line, and now there's nothing he can really do. He's not combined Cresselia, he's not going to be able to do any damage to me with Jolteon. As you can see, a crit did absolutely nothing, so we will be able to knock him out with the Body Slam, and then he is going to send in his Cresselia, which will be 2-hit KO'd by the Body Slam. So as you can see here, go for 1, does a quarter. If he Moonlights, I'll just be able to rest up on the following turn, but considering he probably just wanted to get this game over with because he knew he lost, he is just going to go for the Psyshock, and we will be able to knock out his Cresselia. So that is going to be a good game to John. Like I said, definitely check out his YouTube link in the description below. Glad to follow up on a win after last week's loss versus Joey. We are now positive differential. We're 1-1, we are +2. And next week we are going up against Necro Stevo of the Victorian Shadows. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next game.